The reason I'm doing this video is concerning my kids, mainly Maya, um, and me, and the stuff that we went through back in 2006 through 2009, as far as accusations of child abuse, kids being in foster care, and stuff like that. I was talking to my cousin today, and she kind of like pushed me to doing this video. You know, I don't like people watching me, which is why I'm not doing this live. I figured I'd make a recording and shit. Um, but anyway, I've told this story several times before, and I actually reached out to a law firm a few years ago. Um, they did whatever, I guess, investigated a little bit and decided that they didn't want to take the case. I didn't talk to nobody else after that. I just gave up after that one lawyer. I just was like, fuck it. My main concern was having my kids back, and I had them. That's all I was really worried about. But, you know, I knew I needed to go after them because of the accusations towards me and what they did to my life at that time, you know, and my child's life, my kids' life, and my family. Shit, we wasn't the only one that suffered. My whole family suffered with me because they know what type of person I am and what type of child I was at that time, you know. Um, but pretty much, Maya was my first child. Her name is Lamaya Janelle Holmes. Maya was my first child. We planned her. We tried for months. Young, didn't know what the fuck we was doing. We just talking about we wanted a kid, and we was trying for months to get pregnant, and I never got pregnant. And then after we stopped trying, I was pregnant. And so from the moment I found out I was pregnant, I was buying stuff for my child. I was excited to be a mom because I grew up with kids, babysitting all the time. I was the family babysitter. I babysit everybody's kids in the family. Like anytime somebody wanted a babysitter, they called me because I was good with kids and I like kids. Since I was about 5 years old, I've been, well, probably younger than that since my little sister's like 2 years younger than me. But since I can remember, I've been watching kids. And the first child I can remember babysitting, I was 5 years old. And this was my little cousin, Tony Roney. And, but anyway, I've just always loved kids. Like, never thought about hurting a kid. Just always played with kids. I just like kids. So, when I had my daughter, well, when I got pregnant, um, the pregnancy was fine. Like, I was sick a lot. I was real sick with Maya. Like, I had to have a bag everywhere I went. Like, I was throwing up everywhere. I couldn't go nowhere without throwing up. And the pregnancy was fine besides that. And as she grew and I started to feel her move, I could feel her shaking in my stomach. Like, I don't know what it was. I didn't know what it was, but I know now. At the time it was her legs. But I didn't know what it was. I just felt vibrating in my stomach. I never told the doctor. I just was like, what the hell, you know? I was 18, 17 when I got pregnant. And I was 18 when I had her. And I had her at 37 weeks. And I remember going to the hospital and them inducing me because her fluid levels was low. She didn't have a lot of fluid in her. Well, in my stomach, I didn't have a lot of fluid in the sac or whatever. So they induced me, and I had her September 29th, 2005 at 7:24. a.m. And my baby came out like I was in love. Like I remember seeing her. I remember me and John talked about breastfeeding her and how we didn't want her to have the formula because we had looked up about formula and stuff and saw that it had jet fuel. They used the same components for jet fuel in the Similac and stuff in the formula. So we decided that breastfeeding was better. So I already knew I was gonna breastfeed, no bottles at all. We wasn't feeding her milk at all. So when I had her, I breastfed her, and I didn't let nobody watch my baby. Like my mama, I didn't even let my mama babysit. My baby was with me all the time. Whatever. That was my child. That's my doll. Like she was like my personal baby doll. And I remember I had bought her this little Winnie the Pooh snuggle. The thing was like an all over sleeper. It was for the wintertime. It was a hooded thing. And I got one. I got a big one now. But for a baby to feed in it. But I used to love to put her on that thing. It was just so soft and it just felt so good. And I remember walking her to the store over there at the Kmart when Kmart used to be in Saraland, and we stayed in the apartments right across the street from the Kmart, Imperial Court. Me and her daddy had moved over there after we had Maya, and was on our own, and it was just us. And he was kind of antisocial. Well, I ain't gonna say kind of. He antisocial. He didn't want to hang around nobody, so we was always together at home with our baby. Shit, he was at work, and I was at home with the baby. He didn't really want me hanging around nobody. So, I didn't really hang with my friends and shit. I was just at home with my baby. And, again, she didn't take no bottle. She titty fed, so I can't just leave her with nobody. And she don't eat. She didn't suck out a nipple or nothing like that. And, she was like starting to roll over. She was playing, laughing just like a normal 3-month-old baby. She was like developing. To me, she was developing faster. Like she was doing stuff faster than what a normal child her age should be doing. Like rolling over early and shit. Like I was like, what the fuck? The hell wrong with her? She doing all this shit. But she was smart. She was happy. She was a happy baby. She didn't cry for real. Because I never let her get hungry. I was always right there with my titty to pop in the mouth as soon as she cried. Goddamn. And, shit. I remember my baby was fine up until January the 11th. 2006, which was my mama's birthday. And like I said, my baby daddy worked all the time or whatever. And he didn't really have no off days. This particular day, he was off. And he wanted me to be at home with him and Maya, whatever. It was my mama's birthday. I told him to come with us to my mama's house or whatever and come over there with us and spend time with my mama. He didn't want to do that. And he wanted me to leave Maya there with him while I went with my mama. I couldn't do that because, like I said, Maya was breastfed. Maya didn't drink out no bottle. She didn't suck on no nipple outside of my nipple. She would not take a bottle at all. She would not take formula at all. So I can't leave her there and she not gonna eat. Like he was expecting me to come right back within the next hour or something. Like, no, I wasn't finna do that. I'm finna take my baby and I'm finna go with my mama. You can come with us or you can't. Or don't. But you're invited. I'm not staying here on my mama's birthday and she doing something. And I don't spend time with her. She doesn't really have a chance to see the baby and stuff. and I wanted her to spend time with her grandbaby, which was her first one by me, her first daughter. So me and him got into an argument about that. He was mad or whatever. But I went with my mama to Axis, me and my baby. So we up there, everything's fine, my baby's fine. And I remember being in a car and in my auntie car, and I know it was some oranges in the back window. I remember she had something like a basket or something in the window, and some oranges fell down. Was it orange? It was something. Something fell down. I don't remember. I think it was oranges fell out the window on the seat. She was in the middle, and that shit fell down and fell on her, and she was crying. But then, I got her and soothed her, and she stopped crying or whatever. So she was fine. Up in there, we went to my auntie house. It was some people over there. I forgot. I think my cousin Pee Wee was there. I think somebody, I don't know who else was there, but they got a chance to see Maya. She was fine. Somebody held her. I don't remember who was there. Somebody else was there that held her. And they held her for the first time. I don't even remember who was there. I just remember my auntie was there because she gave us a ride over there. And Maya was fine. She was happy. We went over there to my mama's house. She was fine. She was happy. Like nothing was wrong with her. Then it was time for me to go home. I remember when I got home, me and John started arguing. So we arguing about me being gone with the baby and stuff, and he don't have time to spend with her and all this and that or whatever. But like I said, I had told him he can come up there with us, but it was my mama's birthday, and I was not gonna not go over there for her birthday, So, as we arguing, I guess Maya get frustrated, with us hollering and stuff. So she started crying, and as soon as she started crying, we both stopped arguing and started focusing on her. So we trying to get her to stop crying and shit. But when she crying, she just crying like real hard, and she crying like she's hollering, like her arms locking up, like she just crying. We trying to put her arms down. Can't put her arms down. She just hollering and just like, shit, my legs. But she just hollering and shit, like can't stop her from crying. Like she was crying so bad, we had to call the ambulance. So we called the ambulance. They came. They checked her out, and they checking her out. She's still crying, but they was like, "Don't worry about it. A crying baby is a good baby, whatever." So they kind of calmed us down from worrying about her. I ride in the ambulance with Maya. She's still crying, just crying. By this time now, it's probably like hours. It's probably been like 2 hours that she been crying. So, as the ambulance taking us to the hospital or whatever, they kind of speeding, and John got a neighbor from downstairs, because like I said, we lived in the Pier Court. We was upstairs, I think apartment 9, and he got one of our neighbors, which was somebody we was cool with over there. I don't know, have a clue who that is either. I can't tell you who the hell that was, but I remember him getting a ride from the guy downstairs, and falling behind the ambulance. The ambulance was kind of speeding, and so they was speeding to try to keep up with the ambulance. And I remember the ambulance pulling over, then them pulling over behind the ambulance. They get out and actually tell them that they don't have to speed behind the ambulance. Like, come, just, meet us there. You don't have to speed with us. It's fine. So we get to the hospital. She's still crying. They examining her, a newborn. You know how they do newborns. They take baby's clothes off, take their shirt off and shit. Check their heart and check them all around. Check their temperatures in their ass and shit. So, they did all that to Maya, checking her. They couldn't find nothing wrong with her. They said she got an ear infection. So, they said, gave me amoxicillin, which is the pink medicine, like that bubblegum medicine. They gave me amoxicillin for her, Said give it to her however often you're supposed to give it to a baby. So, and they said if she didn't get better in 2 days to bring her back. This had turned into January 12th by the time we left the hospital. So we left the hospital about 3 o'clock in the morning. Somebody, I think the man John was working for at the time, came and picked us up from the hospital and took us back home. Maya hadn't stopped crying by then. She didn't calm down. So I'm watching her. I'm thinking about what they said. I'm 18 years old right now. John, 18, 19, 20, 21. He about 20, 21 years old. And so when I get home, I'm watching Maya. Like, after that, she didn't cry no more. So I'm watching her. I believe we went to sleep or whatever. We woke up the next morning, and the next day, like, Maya was completely different. Maya was like staring off into space, like she wasn't focusing. She was just like, lip was twitching, like she was like twitching, and she wouldn't breastfeed. She wouldn't latch on to my breast. Like, I kept trying to get her to latch on. She couldn't latch on. And so something told me to use the pump. I had a little hand pump. So I used the pump to pump some milk into a bottle. And I had a medicine dropper. And I used it. You know how they show the animals and they be feeding the little animals with the little medicine dropper or whatever. So I squeezed it with squeezed the breast milk with the medicine dropper and tried to feed it to her, but she couldn't swallow. So I was trying to blow in her face to try to make her swallow, and I did that for 2 days. Like, my baby was just like, by the second day, by the 14th, I had to hurry up and take her back to the hospital, because when you pick her up, it's like picking up a doll. Like, you know how a rag doll just, their arm just flop to the side and legs, they just flop there. That's how Maya was. So when they see her, when we get to the hospital, I think the man who came and got us that night probably took us to the hospital and then John went to work. So I'm at the hospital with Maya. When they see Maya and they ask me why I'm there, I just show them my baby. You know, she just basically just lifeless, and they hurry up and take her to the back. And so I'm back there with her, and Maya laying on the table, and you got somebody right here like taking a pulse, somebody right here taking blood, or somebody was taking blood. Some other nurse was in there doing something, probably just helping. And then a doctor came in there and was checking her heart rate and stuff. And as he was checking her heart rate and they was taking her blood at the same time, Maya's heart stopped beating. And the man was like, I lost a heartbeat. Then he started shaking on it. He was like, I need something like a purse, okay? So this is like her laying on the bed, on me on the table. So he put his hand on her chest. He was like, come on, baby, come back. So I started panicking. I'm crying and screaming. They made me get out. And if you know how USA used to be years ago, you know they had triage, room here. And then they got the rooms. And they're probably still the same way. It might be a little bit different now because I don't go there often. But when you go to the emergency room, they had the little room right here. It was kind of open. Then they put me in the room over here with the doors right here. So I remember going in there, crying, thinking my baby dead, and I don't know what the fuck going on. So they finally came in there and say they got her heartbeat started again. And they asked me, did she have seizures? And I said no, because she didn't have seizures. And but then they was telling me that she was having seizures or whatever. And so they was gonna check her out or whatever and see what's wrong. And so John, by that time I had started calling everybody, letting them know what was going on. So I think John might have came back to he came back to the hospital then, because that's when they was running the test on her, whatever. trying to see what's wrong with her. So I remember there was a doctor that came to talk to us. Her name was Dr. Vidal. And I will never forget this lady because of the evil and the hell she caused in my life. Oh, man, I'll never forget this lady. But her name is Dr. Vidal. So when she first come talk to us, she tell us that they can't find nothing wrong with Maya. That it's probably just an ear infection had got in her blood or whatever. You know, that they was gonna keep doing whatever to see what's going on. Okay, so the first time we talked to her, we just thinking it's just an ear infection in her bloodstream. So the next time this lady come talk to us, I don't know if it was a few hours later. I don't know if it was the next day. I don't remember how much time had passed. But the same lady came in there talking to us with some more people. And she sat in our face and told us that Maya had shaken baby syndrome. And I think it was 2 or 3 fractured ribs that was 7 to 10 days old. And that she might not live. And if she did live, they was going to take her. So me and John look at each other and we like, you just told us. We didn't look at each other at this time, but we told her that you just told us that her ear infection, that it was an ear infection that probably had got in her blood. She was like, I didn't say that. And me and John looked at each other like, this lady just, like, we don't know who we just talked to. Like, this lady just sat in our face and lied. Like, she didn't just tell us that they couldn't find nothing wrong with it. They just think it was an ear infection in her blood. And this lady, like, can you imagine your first child that you love, that's like a fucking baby doll, you just so attached to this child, and she gets sick, and they accuse you of doing, they not just they accuse you, but they lie and say that they didn't tell you one thing and then come tell you something else with some other people around. Like, what the fuck? I just don't understand. Like, this lady really said in our face, 2 people, me and John. This is not just something she told me. This is something she told my baby daddy too. We both sitting in here. We was together at this time. Me and John was pretty much inseparable. We broke up, got back together, broke up, got 35 times in almost 4 years. We was together. And this lady sitting here and told us that she didn't tell us this shit in our face. So after that, that's when, like, my family's there, because they talked to us separately. They didn't talk to us. Or was my mama in there too? I don't remember. I just know me and John was in there. The Dr. Vidal was in there. And some other people. I would never forget this lady's name. I won't forget her face. I don't remember nobody else who was there, but I remember her. And from there, it just went to hell. My cousin, after I told my cousin them what was going on, my cousins and my uncles and stuff was down there at the hospital. By the end, they had came now. And so when we came out and told them, after they lied and tried to say that basically we had did this, but basically it pretty much was on me, because I was the main one with her. Like, John didn't have no time to watch it. When he watched it, because he was off. He had time to spend with her at home off work. That's the only time he spent with her. I was with Maya all day, 24/7. It's me. And when my cousin them heard what they was saying, they was Bookie dead, R.I.P. Bookie dead right now. Bookie told them people, let's call the police. He was like, we finna call the police because this some bullshit. Like, it's no way they lying. They putting that shit on. They lying. And when they heard Bookie saying that shit and everybody saying that shit, talking about call lawyers and call shit, That's when they called DHR. They had to get on the ball, calling DHR to save their ass. So I remember the lady, Hatsy Lamb, was the first lady that came and talked to us. So she wanted to ask us what happened and how, we did. And I told him Maya was breastfed. Maya don't cry. Maya didn't cry. When she cried, she was 1 second titty in mouth. One pamper change. Maya was like, oh my God. I loved her to death. I love her. But my baby, oh my God. Whew. And like, what the fuck? I'm getting lost. My nerves getting bad. I'm fucking shaking. And that we talked to Hatsy. Hatsy asked us what happened. How do we treat her? How do we take care? How do we play with her? And you know how you play with babies and do stuff. John was showing her how he do stuff like that, like playing with her, making her laugh, and she was like, "So you shaking it? No, it's not hard. You just baby play or whatever." So she trying to put words in your mouth and try to make situations out of fucking nothing. Man, the people is fucking weird, man. There's some evil ass people in this world, bro. But that lady, she act like she was gonna help me. I need to find my case files. But in this shit, she put a whole nother scenario of what we told her. Like, she wrote something totally different. And I remember writing it down. Like, I still have case files. I still got my files just to keep them and shit. Just for, I don't know. I just keep this shit. Like, what the fuck? But let me find what I wrote down about her line about. Okay, so it says, this is in the matter of Lamaya Holmes. This is the paper. So it says, the said child is dependent as defined in the Code of Alabama, 1975, whatever that symbol is, 12-15-1. 10, paragraphs B, K, M, and N, in that they have no parent or guardian able or willing to provide for them. The department received a report on January 14, 2006, that the child had been brought into the hospital with symptoms including twitching, limpness, rigidity, and trouble breathing, but had no visible bruising. Underline that part. She had no visible bruising, right? While being treated, the child suffered a seizure coded and was placed on a respirator. The child had been seen 2 days prior for an ear infection, and the parents were told to bring her back to the hospital if there was no improvement. What I said, I told you 2 days before that now. The parents stated that the child was crying and became lethargic and that her eyes were rolling back in her head. And I wrote that. I said, it's a lie. I never said her eyes were rolling back in her head. I said her eyes were twitching and going from side to side. They were twitching, rolling. They were going left to right. Okay. She said a CT scan showed bilateral subdural hematomas, bilateral retinal hemorrhage, and 2 fractured ribs that were 7 to 10 days old, while the MRI showed the baby had old and new blood on the brain, indicating she had been shook on more than one occasion, and a detached retina. And I wrote, lie here. This is old stuff that I wrote. This is not new. Lie. They showed me the CT scan, and I only saw blood on one side of her brain. That's what I seen when I seen her CT scan. Correct me if I'm wrong, but does bilateral means 2, right? Bi, that means 2. That means 2 sides of the brain, right? Okay, so I don't know what the fuck they showed these people or what they wrote in here. They just exaggerated the fucking story. I was not only wronged by the hospital, but I was wronged by the Department of Human Resources also. This lady just straight lied. Like, what the fuck? The child, who had been unconscious and on a respirator in ICU, has had the breathing tube removed and is soon to be moved to a regular floor. The parents have given no explanation for the injuries, though some family members have made accusations against the hospital and called law enforcement, but state only that they have tossed the child in the air because she likes it. That's what I was just telling you. See, she said we didn't give no explanations. I said I don't know. Like, what the fuck? We don't know what could have happened to her. Like, what the fuck? And it says, upon investigation, the department has determined that the life and health of the child is in danger unless the minor receives the care and protection of the state. Therefore, the Mobile County Department of Human Resources requests immediate temporary custody of the minor. The Mobile County Department of Human Resources further requests that this court order that the child support be paid by the parents pursuant to the Rule 32 and issue any appropriate wage withholding. I swear that I am informed and believe and state upon such information, knowledge, and belief that the above allegations are fact and true. This was Hatsie Lamb. And I wrote lie, what she said. She swear. I said, I told her what I thought happened. She said she believes me and didn't think I did anything to my child. In the end, she didn't try to help me at all. That's what I wrote on here. I told her later what I thought. No, we didn't fucking know. Like, what the fuck? And then she lied like we didn't tell her what we thought could happen. The fuck? Like, we didn't give no explanation. What could we have? What kind of explanation? Like, she just out of nowhere. The fuck, man? Okay. Man, what's this? So, this shit was January 23rd. But anyway, the people fucking lied. Like, the lady from DHR lied. Fucking Dr. Vidal lied. Like, all this shit could have been avoided had they just told the truth and just said, we made a mistake, we missed such and such. I wouldn't have tried to sue no damn hospital. They was trying to save my child. They didn't see it. They caught it after. But my thing is, y'all lied and put this shit on me and tried to destroy my life and my family's life. Like, not only me, but I can't speak for John. You know, I'm not speaking for him. He gotta have to speak for himself with this shit. But both of us was arrested for this shit. But they mainly put the shit on me because I was the one always with him. And it's like, man, bro, I don't know what to do. Like, where was I in some of this? I just want help. And like, we go to this place called CRS. Some people, a lot of people in the city know what it is. If you have a special needs child, whatever, or somebody in your life that's special needs. But we go there, and we used to see this doctor, and his name is Dr. Martins or some shit. But he used to see her over there in the neurology clinic. I'm not scratching my leg now. I'm scratching my coochie. But anyway, we used to see him at the neurology clinic. And after a couple of years, he started looking at Maya. And because they kept asking, they was like, what's wrong with her? How did she get her? They was like shaking baby. They kept saying, like, her diagnosis. Every time the doctor come in, they'll say, what's her diagnosis? Shaking baby syndrome. And I would always correct them. It's not shaking baby syndrome. It's not what that is. Stop calling it that. So one day, Dr. Martins, we was in his clinic, and he brought up something called Faces syndrome. And he was saying that he didn't think that it was shaking baby syndrome that what she had, because when you look at Maya, you see her disability is basically on one side. It's like the right side of her body is weak. It's, I don't know what happened. Like she had a stroke or something. She got strength, but she can use this hand and stuff, and she was able to move this leg real good until she got it fused. Like, I thought that was gonna help her. This shit made it worse. Like, she can't sit up straight. They just fucking my baby up, this whole hospital. Like, I really hate that USA Children and Women is the only hospital that I have to deal with this shit, because they the whole reason behind why I'm going through this. Like, but that may, oh yeah, fuck that. I gotta go back to DHR. So, after my child was taken or whatever, you know, y'all know I got a big ass family. My family love each other. We fuck with each other. We there for each other. You feel me? When times get hard, we gonna be there for each other. So, when they took my daughter, I had relatives that was ready to get her, take her into her house, and keep her, you know, while we go through this situation. So Maya ain't gonna have to be with no fucking strangers. This is why I feel like it was a conspiracy. Like the hospital and DHR worked together to protect each other. Like, because my daughter had family that was willing to take her. My cousin lived in McIntosh. And they were supposed to go to McIntosh to go see her house. I think it was my cousin Tangie. My cousin Tangie was going to get Maya. And they was her house. They were going to go to her house, supposed to look at her house or whatever. So instead of them going to Tangie house in McIntosh, they came to Axis at my auntie house. You know, everybody stay at Atlanta house. That's not a house like you just, they not going to say she can stay there. So they went to Atlanta house. And we was telling them this is not her house. She don't live here. Why did they come to Axis? Like they was purposely trying to find a reason not to give her to a family member so they can be getting some kind of income off of her. So they didn't give her to my cousin. They gave her to this lady named Jennifer, and I love Jennifer to death. I really appreciate Jennifer for all the extra shit she did for me so I can see my baby more. But they gave my baby to Jennifer, a stranger that somebody my baby don't know nothing about. It was fucked up when she had family she could have went to. They wronged me. I swear, I don't care. And I was kind of skeptical about calling them out because I know what kind of power they have trying to take people's kids and shit, but fuck that. This shit need to come out. This shit got to be told why these people did me, because somebody else probably got did the same way, being black and poor and young. But anyway, my baby went through that shit. They went from me seeing my baby twice a week to seeing my baby once a week, bro. Like, why did they take my visitation from me? I don't understand that. I didn't do anything. I was always at the visits. I never missed a visit. John didn't come to the visits for real. I was there. I was at every visit. I never missed a visit. I never missed nothing. I was not going nowhere. But they took my visitation. And when they did that, the reason why I said I love Jennifer and I appreciate what she did, because you know, every time my baby had a doctor's appointment, she made sure that I came, that I wanted to go. And she asked me if I could go or to see if I wanted to go, when I went to every appointment that she came and got me for. But, so, while I'm going through this, or whatever, going through this case, trying to go to the court and shit every few months, I get pregnant with Corey. I don't tell them I'm pregnant, but you know, my stomach start getting big, and they see that I'm pregnant. And they didn't. I don't think they said nothing to me. I don't remember them saying nothing to me, but I remember my cousin, baby mama Shauna, calling me because she had heard about the situation, what I was going through. And she was saying that I needed to leave Mobile to come have my baby in Huntsville so they wouldn't take my baby. But I couldn't leave Maya. It's no way that I was finna miss a visit being in Huntsville. It's no way possible I was gonna miss a visit. And I didn't leave Maya. So I stayed here till I had my baby. And when I had my baby, Dr. Clark delivered Corey. And I was finna breastfeed Corey, just like I breastfeed Maya. That was my plan, to breastfeed all my kids. And I was finna breastfeed Corey. And before I could get the chance to breastfeed Corey, they was coming in there telling me that Daddy Charles was finna take my baby. And I couldn't take my baby home with me. Whew, that broke me. That broke me so bad. Man, that fucked me up, boy. But I got through it, and I went to the visits, and I kept praying, and I kept my faith, and I kept going. So I had ended up getting a lawyer after they filed criminal charges against me, or whatever, because Judge Brown, Judge Brown, it was starting to take so long as to why they wasn't filing criminal charges. Like, we keep going to juvenile court, so he started asking questions like, why they not filing criminal charges yet? Like, what's going on with that? What's taking so long? So shortly after that, they finally want to file criminal charges or whatever. So they told me I was going to have a warrant. So I called down there to see if I had a warrant when they told me. And when I called down there, they said, no, I didn't have them. Because I was finna turn myself in. I'm like, I'm not running from nobody. What the fuck? I'm not finna run. What the fuck? I turned myself in. They had warrants for me and John. Matter of fact, they had filed charges on both of us. And, like, about a couple of months later, I had to go get an ID. Because my mama was on Station A, and I had reached 18, so I had to get put on the lease. So I didn't have my ID. I had to go get me an ID. As I'm down there going to get my ID, and mind you, I told you, I called them to make sure I didn't have no warrants. So when I get down there to get my ID, they let me take my picture and everything. So I get to the window. Then I'm noticing it's taking a little long, and somebody from the back come back there and arrest me. And like in front of I don't think they did in front of everybody, but they just made me come to the back, which was still kind of obvious. Like, why the fuck they taking her to the back? So they told me what I was charged with. I'm like, I called to find out if I had warrants, I would have turned myself in. So the man, you can look at me and tell, especially at the time, that I wasn't doing no shit. I was fucking child abuse. You can look at me. I'm a fucking awesome person. Do I look like a child abuser? But anyway, the man could see that, and the man didn't even put me in handcuffs. That's how much bullshit that was. The man didn't even put me in no handcuffs, taking me to Metro. I got to go to Metro and go fucking get booked, taking fucking mug shots. Like, I'm taking mug shots like I'm fucking child abuser. I just can't believe, like, I actually went through that in my life. Like, I really was on TV, on the news. I'm still on the fucking internet right now, like a fucking child abuser. Like, that shit is beyond me. But I know life. You are tested. Your life is tested sometimes, bro. You can't be weak. You have to be strong. You have to know that it's gonna be a better day tomorrow. You can't give up, because it's always gonna be some bullshit, man. These people had me going through some bullshit. But anyway, so I done got arrested, whatever. So I get a lawyer. I'm broke. I find a lawyer that's my cousin. I'm thinking might feel a little sorry. I'm her cousin, and try to help me. But that bitch wanted them 3 racks, bitch, and I was broke, bitch. That bitch said, fuck you. That bitch was trying to make me plead youthful offender. And I almost did it too. Because I was broke and wanted to get it over with. And they kept telling me if I plead youthful offender, then I can get my kids back, whatever. And that's all I wanted was my kids. So when I agreed to do youthful offender, you know, you have to sign a paper and say or that sign a paper that like pretty much admits to your guilt or youthful. I don't know what the fuck the paper was, but I signed the paper, and then after that they want you to get in front of the judge, stand up in front of the judge, and admit that you're guilty. And when they try to get me to do that, I wasn't going for that. I wasn't finna do that. No, I'm not. I'm not finna say that. I'll write it down to hurry up and get over this, but I'm not finna say it. No. No, I'm not finna say that. So, the ugly ass DA, his name Giardini, he up in there hollering, she needs to take responsibility for what she did. And I couldn't control myself. I had an outburst. This is what they call them, an outburst in court. And I told him, you need to be quiet because you don't even know what you talking about. And they was like, you can't talk to him. You can't say nothing to him. I said, well, he need to shut up. I said, I told him after he said I need to take responsibility. I said, I don't need to take responsibility for nothing because I didn't do nothing. And they was like, you can't talk to him, but you be quiet. I said, well, no, he need to be quiet because he don't even know what he talking about. I didn't do nothing. I'm not admitting to nothing I didn't do. So whatever happened. So that court day was over, and shortly after that, my cousin dropped off my case, and the judge appointed me a lawyer. Her name was Brandy Osborne, and to this day right now, I'm like so grateful for this lady. Like, this lady did her shit. I don't know what she did, how she did it, but I thank her for whatever the fuck she did, because when I went to her court, I was pregnant with Kaylee, and I was in there with my mama. I went not to her court, but I went to her office, her law office, and I went there, and I helped her. And I talked to her, and I told her same thing I've been telling y'all and everybody, the same story for the last 15 years. And I told them how they keep taking my babies. And I was so scared they was going to take Kaylee from me. And she was like, between us and them is the truth. And I'm going to find the truth. And my next court date, probably, they had me taking, I had to take parenting classes. They had me taking a fucking psychological evaluation. They had me I had to go get my GED, which I had dropped out of school. I wasn't going to school. Fuck that. But when they made that a stipulation of court and me getting my kids, I went and got that motherfucking GED 3 months. Matter of fact, 2 months. It just took 3 or 4 for the fucking graduation or the paperwork to come through. It took me 2 months to get that home. So, and I had been out of school 4 years, and I just want to put that out there. 2 months. But anyway, whatever that lady did, when I went to court, the case got dismissed. So whatever she dug and found out, I don't know. But right now, Brandy is a judge. And that happened shortly after my case. And I thank God blessed her for helping me. And I really thank her. I never did get a chance to tell that lady thank you. I don't think either. And send her some shit to say I appreciate you for saving my life. Because I was really going to be dead without my kids. I was going to be dead. But anyway, that's over. My kids is back. So, let me go back to Dr. Martins. So, Dr. Martins showed me something about, well, he told me what he thought that it was. He said he didn't think it was shaken baby syndrome. He thought it was something called FACES syndrome. which is more prevalent in girls, and they have strawberries, which is what black people call them, but they are hemangiomas, which them red things on their face and on their eyes and stuff. They have them on their face. It's just in their face, like they be on their forehead to cover their whole face. Well, Maya was born with that shit. She had it on her face. You see that? Maya had that shit. Just exactly what that shit is, and what it causes, the shit faces syndrome causes strokes and aneurysms and shit in children and infants. And they accused me of shaking my baby because they didn't know that's what she had. I feel like they misdiagnosed her, and they found out that they sent my baby home sick, dying, and they didn't want to suffer for that. They didn't want to be sued for that. So they felt it was easier for them to put that shit on me. Nobody's gonna help this little black girl or whatever. If anything happen, come over. They not gonna come after us. There's nothing they can do. This lady right now, after almost destroying my life, is still practicing medicine, still dealing with people, kids. How many other people have they did this to at this hospital, man? And I swear I hate that I live in Mobile and this hospital is the only children's hospital that's here. All the doctors' offices are affiliated with Children and Women's Hospital. Dr. Martins, when he told me about this, what he thought it was, we had set up an appointment to have my baby tested to see if she had this. Do you know what doctor they sent in there with my baby try to watch and oversee this? Dr. Vidal. I recognized her, and I told him right there in her face, I don't want her in here. This is the doctor that lied in my face. I don't want her in here. We rescheduled that appointment. They didn't do it that day because they was like, she the only person. We didn't do it. We did it with somebody else. Or they say they did it with somebody. I don't know if she was still there or not. But we did the test, and to this day, they never gave me the results. And after that, Dr. Martin stopped working at CRS. And that was in 2009 or 10 maybe. 2009, 10, 11, somewhere up in that time. And if you was going to CRS and you had visits with Dr. Martins, you know he stopped being at CRS around that time. And I really feel like it had something to do with him trying to help me prove that my baby did not have shaken baby syndrome. And I tried to get a lawyer to help me, but he did whatever. I don't know what he investigated or determined that he didn't want to take my case. After I talked to that one lawyer, I just gave up. I just said, fuck it. I got my kids. That's all I wanted anyway. And I just think about it and think about how they just getting away with just almost ruining me. Like I could have spent 20 years of my life in prison. I'm still blasted on the fucking internet like a fucking child abuser. It's still people right now that can see that and look at me with a side eye like I bruised somebody. I bruised my own kid, man. Like, I just don't see how that's fair that they can get away with that. And I just want somebody to help me bring these people to justice and investigate and help me find out what was really wrong with my child, because shaking baby syndrome is not what she had. But yes, anyway, shaking baby syndrome is not what my child had. And let me see if I can find another picture with the shit on my eye so you can see what I'm talking about. And then I'm gonna post pictures of what that shit, when I look it up, I mean, when you look it up, you will see what the characteristics are for the kids. Like, can you see Maya eye? You see that red shit on her eye? That's the same. It's on both of them, but it was on that one worse. It was on this eye worse than that one. That one, both of them had it, but one had it worse. And that's actually the eye that she can't see in. That's the eye that they had to do surgery on. They had the blood. Well, they said it was blood in the eye. And they probably realized it was Faces syndrome after. So that's why they want to... After she had got sick, they might have realized that's what it was. But, I feel like somebody, please share this and get this to the right people that can help me, because we deserve to be compensated for what we went through, and they deserve to be outed and blasted, and they deserve to be embarrassed like I was embarrassed. They deserve to be suffer. They deserve to suffer for the wrong that they did to me, when all I did was try to come get help for my baby, and they didn't help me. They sent my baby home. That's all I just want somebody to help me and say that it's not too late to make them pay for this. They need to pay for this. Like, criminal charges should be brought against these people for this shit. Like, this is not just no sue them and get some money behind this shit. Like, they need to be fucking, they need to feel what it, they need to know what it feel like to have charges on you. But these real charges. These are not false charges. Like, this real shit. Like, this shit. This shit crazy, man. Look at this shit on my baby face. Look at this shit. You see that on her face? This shit crazy. I don't know. Anything else, I might have left out some shit, because I'm just everywhere. I just want to get this video over with and try to get it to the right people and talk to somebody. Talk to somebody who can help me, who's willing to help me. Okay, I'm done.